Well, this is Amanda Ross, and I'm here at Wrong Family Farms where they make maple syrup, and I'm going to read a book called Maple Syrup from the Sugar House. Maple trees slumber while the winter wind whistles and whirls, until Kelsey feels the sun pushing the cold aside and sees the snow melting, drip, drop, dripping, and the ground below thaws. Is the weather right for a sap run? Kelsey asks. Daddy nods. Freezing nights and warm days. Kelsey follows Daddy, trudging out into the woods, filled with sugar maple trees. Daddy says, since last year's harvest, the maple trees have grown and summer's sugar through the chilly fall and icy winter. That stored sugar is now ready to be collected. Daddy stops at a maple tree. Where is last year's hole? Kelsey asks. It's healed over like the scrape on your knee. Daddy drills a pencil-sized hole in the giant sugar maple. Kelsey hammers a metal file into the hole with a tap, tap, tap. Then she hangs the first metal bucket. Sap droplets drip, ting, ting-a-ling-a-ling. We need to keep moving, Daddy says. We've got the whole sugar bush on, to tap. While Kelsey waits for the sap to fill the buckets, she helps sterilize bottles and stack wood by the firebox, and then plays tag with her cousins, Farrah and Gwen, until Daddy, the buckets are full, Kelsey announces. Throughout the sugar bush, everyone works together. Some gather the filled buckets, while others lift the buckets and pour the sap into the storage tank on the back of the tractor. Kelsey leads Farrah and Gwen to return the empty buckets back to the maple tree's spouls. Then everyone moves to the next section of the trees until hours later the buckets have been emptied and the whole tank is full. Kelsey hears the tank sap splish, splash, splashing all the way to the sugar house. There, Daddy starts to pump the sap through a filter into a larger holding tank. Gravity pulls the sap through a pipe to a long, flat, warming pan. Below the pan, flames from the firebox heat the chilly, colorless sap, sending it swirling into the evaporator. How long before it boils? Kelsey asks. Soon, Daddy says. Kelsey watches the maple steam roll, rising to the roof vent, then out to the night sky. Look, Daddy, the sap's rumbling, bubbly, boiling. The water in the sap is evaporating, raising the sugar content, Daddy smiles. Kelsey passes wood to Daddy to refill the stove, keeping the fire hot. Mama passes out hot cocoa, and everyone tells stories to pass the time. More sap added, gallon after gallon after gallon. Little by little, the sap changes from clear to golden amber. Daddy takes a spoon and places a drop of sap from the steaming evaporator pan onto the sugar gauge. He checks to see if enough water has evaporated to leave maple syrup. Everyone waits, but Daddy shakes his head. We need to keep boiling. An hour later, Daddy tests the sap again. We're getting closer. The rumbling of the boiling sap is the only sound now. Everyone snuggles in sleeping bags, and the adults take turns helping Daddy keep the fire hot until Daddy tries again. It's maple syrup. Time to pour. Daddy opens the pour valve on the end of the evaporator. The sap flows down through a filter into the canning pan. Everyone jumps into action, filling bottles, twisting caps. Line them up. Yay! Until the first run of maple syrup is bottled, cooling. Kelsey and Daddy sit down with family and friends to enjoy a breakfast feast of pancakes, sausage, biscuits, coffee, and ice cream, all smothered in liquid gold maple syrup. All right, that's the end of it.